Hello there, amazing people. You probably can hear some dogs going mental in the background. Some people in my apartment can't control their dogs and they think they are dog people because they can't control them. This here, we're going to talk about, well, not this article, this is just an article that I got sent to me like, well, when it came out. And I've been kind of holding on to it for fun reasons. It's fun to poke a little bit at the Linux community with stuff like this because they say, well, there's no toxicity in the Linux community. There's no articles about people being bullied on Linux. There's no videos about people being bullied on Linux. I have plenty of those, by the way. Anyway, I'm going to talk about something that I have only encountered when it comes to Linux, which is, to me, it's a mind-boggling experience to have with the Linux community. One of the reasons why I actually prefer the Mac community and the Windows community or the Linux community. And that is that it's not uncommon to lose friends in the Linux community if you stop advocating Linux, using Linux full time, or are like, you know what, Linux is not for me. Microsoft Windows, Microsoft Windows, Apple is more suited to my needs, my use case and stuff like that. I have seen this firsthand with people that I know where they have quite vocally said that, you know what, Linux fucking sucks for my use case, I don't like it, and they got a little bit overhand. If you probably know who the person is, if you know my circles of people that I run around with. When that happened, I used to be really active in the Discord. I had more time at that point. And the day after that video came out, there were a few people not showing up anymore. Not there anymore, not in the voice chat, not being active in Discord and stuff like that. And then when said person changed their mind again and be like, Linux is the best thing ever, blah, 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 the people came back. That's a little bit smelly. I have also seen this in other Linux communities, like in forums and among the people that I associated with that were Linux people before I even did this YouTube channel. I've seen it with myself. I've seen people stop talking to each other because one liked Arch and another one didn't. One liked Ubuntu, another one didn't. One liked Snap Packages, another one didn't. It's a really weird thing that your preferences in software that has no impact on your life whatsoever other than you like using it is determining who you associate with in your real life. It was kind of like when people are like, you know what, I don't like Linux anymore, or Linux don't do it for me anymore, I'm going over to Windows. It's kind of like they got the plague, like they got infested with some massively bad STD and the plague and, the human malware that is around at the same time, and just thinking about them will get you infected worse than anyone else. I just don't get that mentality, and to me that's, in of itself, it's a toxic mentality to have. It's a really narrow-minded, uninclusive, exclusive mentality to have. It's kind of the same mentality as saying, I don't like you because you were born in this place. I don't like you because you believe in the X and Y thing. You're not hurting anyone, you're not doing anything wrong, but just for the fact that you were born in a place, into a belief system, or are liking something, I don't like you. I don't want to associate with you. It's making people divided. It's making exclusion and inclusion lists. It's making segregation, basically. And when I saw that happen more and more the last 5 or so years, I started to become really, 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 really afraid of the Linux community. Because if that's okay in the Linux community to say, to exclude people just for the sake of running a software, what would be the next? What is the next thing that they're going to exclude people on? What I have between my legs? Who I choose to fuck? Where I'm born? What kind of deity I pray to? Like, it's not a crazy leap to jump into that conclusion, because they are already doing it more and more than they had in the 90s and 2000s. There are people that stop talking to me because I am critical towards Linux. Why? Why is that a problem? Is your whole life system, if you're one of those people, is your whole identity as a person, is that you are a Linux user and free and open source advocate? Because if it is, I'm going to say this, and I mean this in the most sincere way, but also in the most non-toxic way, but you must have a really sad life and you need help. There needs to be something more fulfilling in a person's life than a license, a coding philosophy, and software, what software you're running. When I see people acting that way, I'm overwhelmed with sadness for both parties, because I see a lot of my friends losing friends because of it, but I also see a person that may be really fucking lonely, that don't have anything in their life that they are a Linux user or free open source advocate. And to me, that's fucking sad. It's really sad. If that's the only thing that's meaningful in someone's life, that's a really sad situation to be in. That's the most important thing in their life. So important that they are willing to stop talking to people they have known for years. It's a sad situation that those kind of people are going over and attacking other Linux users for not using enough free and open source software, yelling and screaming at Windows videos and Windows users and stuff like that. Why are you using that proprietary shiddle, dizzle, dazzle, doozle, dazzle? It's really sad that that's so big of a fucking issue in some people's life. And I don't know how the fuck we can help them, because I want them to have something more in their life. That's my issue with it. When I see people like that only have that one little insignificant thing in their life, I'm like, how can we give them more value? How can we give them more volume in their life? Like, do we need to pay a fucking hooker to fuck them or so? I don't fucking know. Do we need to buy them a fucking, you know, a blow-up doll or a sex robot? Or do we need to get them out, you know, pay them to go on a ferry, not ferry, but to an amusement park? Do we need to pay them to go to dinners and go out and meeting other people? I don't know what's going to be done, but it's massively fucking sad to see someone being that anal about something that's meaningless in the long run. I always say this to people when we're talking about what's meaningful, because a lot of people that I've talked to, they are really, really into technology, and I'm like, if you're dying in 5 minutes, and you're talking to your loved ones, would you be laying there and being #outs by the way, and then keeling over? Or Windows sucks, bro? No, you would be talking about missed opportunities, people that are important in your life, happy moments in your life that you will hope that you can relive that in the afterlife if you believe in that and stuff like that. I don't think anyone on their deathbed will be like, proud Linux user, free and open source. No, that's the last thing they will be thinking about. I'd rather be friends with people that have a whole different fucking political viewpoint than I have, as long as they're not hurting anyone, of course, than not having them as friends if they're good people. I've seen a lot of amazing people in the Windows camp, in the FreeBSD camp, in the Linux camp, and also in the Mac OS camp. Why should I not be friends with those people just because they're running a fucking operating system? Who knows, Linux as a desktop may not even be here in 20 years. We may be gone over to quantum computing and using some totally different fucking operating system that may be run and owned by a totally different companies, by totally different licenses and set of rules and stuff like that. Is your life over now if Linux is not here anymore? What if something comes out and outcompete Linux on the server market, IoT market, handheld market, and the little desktop market that they have? What will you do then? I have talked to probably thousands of Linux users over my 25 years plus on Linux, and they all talk about giving back and doing something for, you know, for the greater good of open source and the ecosystem and society and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, when was the last time you did something charitable in your city, in your neighborhood? When was the last time you helped a neighbor up the stairs that couldn't walk that well or something like that? 9 out of 10 of those people have never done anything for other people than themselves, or what I call it being an internet activist. Basically, they put in their Twitter bio that they are activists, and they yell and scream at other people on the internet, think that now they are activists. When no, you're just an annoying fucking little fucking idiot. Nobody wants to listen to you. Almost nobody have done it. It's the same kind of when they're like, they are so adamant that being able to see the source code is the most important thing in life. And I'm like, okay, when was the last time you looked at a source code? 9 out of 10 of them will still say, never looked at a source code. Well, why is it that important to you? Oh, well, because of developers and stuff. Even developers don't know what they're looking at when they're looking at a source code, because they don't have the underlying meaning of it. Looking at a source code, especially like millions and millions and millions or thousands or hundreds lines of code, it's a little bit like reading a book in a foreign language where you understand a little bit of the words. So in my case, so I live in Denmark. Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian, they kind of borrow a lot of each other's stuff. It would be like me doing something in Danish and get a Swedish person to read it. It will take a lot of time before they, depending on if they've done it before, of course. But if just with their basic knowledge of Swedish and basic, that basic knowledge, it will still take them a long time to get through this big of a book and understanding what's going on. At the end of the book, they may understand it because now they've trained their brain to say, oh my god, those fucking pesky Danish people are saying it this way instead of that way. That's how it is. Like, you may know Python, but try and go and read the Ubuntu updating tool that's done a thing, in Python. Read and understand that. Where they're importing, files and functions and methods and why they're doing it, and of course also classes. And if you don't understand that, being able to see the source code is meaningless. But for some people, that's their whole life. And they don't know why it is that. They don't even know how to look at the source code. And they don't even know how little impact it has on development. Because they live in this little philosophy that because it's closed source, nobody's seeing the source code, which is kind of bullshit. There's something called an NDA, and a lot of other people besides developers in closed source software are seeing the source code. They just have contracts saying that they can use that knowledge to their advantage. So yeah, even proprietary software is limited open source, if you would call it that. So I see a lot of people really living like that, like putting this up, like it's kind of their religion, so to speak. And it's even more important than, religion is for them, like a real religion is for them. And they are willing to sever ties with family members and stuff like that. Like, I am not going to help my family if they're running Windows computers. It's the most unintelligent fucking thing that's ever come out of a mouth of a person if they're saying that. And I've said that before. I was one of those people in the 90s. I refused to do anything with Windows computers. Luckily enough, it took me like a couple of years to get out of that fucking mentality. But yeah, it's the most unintelligent and toxic and unknowledgeable thing to say that I'm not going to help someone because they're running a fucking piece of software. And how sad is it to say stuff like, how sad is it to stop talking to people that you have been friendly with for many, many years just because they are using another piece of software? It makes me think that a lot of Linux people may be sad, lonely fucking people, if that's how they look at it. And that's a sad fucking thing. Nobody should be sad and lonely. Even people I don't like should not be sad and lonely. It's the worst feeling in the fucking world. Because Linux and open source, Windows and proprietary software, all of this that we are talking about right now means nothing in the grand scheme of things. Nobody other than Bill Gates are going to say that, yeah, I'm a Microsoft guy when they die. Nobody is going to be proud of running Windows, Mac OS, Linux, proprietary software, open source software when you have 5 minutes left to live in or 30 seconds left to live in. That's the least of their fucking concern. And honesty is so suited for you as a human. If you think it's okay to lose a friend or exclude people because of software and licenses, you are missing out on life. You are missing out on so many fucking amazing experiences in life. And if you don't change that, you will end up a bitter, lonely fucking sucker at the end of your life. And I don't want that for you. See you all later. Bye bye.